Level 10.1 Corpse Lake. Level 10.1 is a subsection of Level 10, located about 20 miles from the nearest inhabited settlement, known as Malt Town. Despite technically being part of the same level plane, it was given its own separate designation because of how extreme and unstable its properties are. The level consists entirely of a single man-made lake. That lake is radioactive, toxic, and carnivorous all at once. According to documentation, it was formed after repeated failed attempts to destroy a dangerous anomalous object using extreme heat. Rather than neutralizing the object, the heat caused it to melt into a highly dangerous, semi-sentient chemical solution, one that actively seeks out the nearest living animal, including humans, and consumes it through liquidation. The radiation levels are the real headline here. Within 1 square mile of the lake's surface, radiation measures around 700 roentgens per hour, or roughly 7 sieverts per hour. For comparison, the reactor hall at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant measured around 34 sieverts per hour, and that was enough to kill a person in 10 to 20 minutes. Simply standing adjacent to Corpse Lake for more than an hour is fatal. Because of this, the organization known as MEG, the main group that documents and monitors Backrooms levels, doesn't have adequate radioactive protective gear to operate here. No one, including their own personnel, is permitted within 10 square miles of the lake without direct authorization. That entire area has been designated the Corpse Lake Exclusion Zone. Once someone crosses into it, they receive no further contact or assistance, and are considered for all practical purposes already deceased. Level 826, Sea of Bones. Level 826 can be entered unpredictably, sometimes while a wanderer is simply asleep. What they wake up to is a seemingly endless plain made almost entirely of bones. Most of them appear to be human, but there are also scattered reports of skulls and bones believed to come from unidentified entities native to the level. The bones frequently jut out of the ground, which makes it easy to trip or twist an ankle, so simply walking across this level is its own hazard. Above it, the sky has no stars and no clouds. It's completely pitch black. Despite that, the level is still lit by a pale, colorless glow, with no identifiable source. Environmentally, level 826 is extremely hot and humid. Some wanderers have passed out or died from heat stroke simply from exposure. Decomposition and degradation are also accelerated here. Any food brought into the level spoils quickly, and wanderers who die on level 826 are reduced to nothing but bone within a matter of days. Even living wanderers aren't safe from this effect long term. After roughly a week of exposure, cellular death begins to outpace the body's ability to repair itself, meaning the level slowly starts breaking down anyone who stays too long, whether they've died or not. The only real landmark on the level is a bottomless pit at its center, with an enormous stone hand reaching upward out of the dark, mounted on a stone pillar. No official explanation for its purpose has ever been documented. Level 5, Midas Touch. Level 5 takes its number from the golden ratio, an irrational constant that begins 1.6180339887498994 and continues infinitely. It doesn't carry a dead zone or Class 5 rating. Instead, it's logged under its own unique classification, described as unsafe, unstable, and carrying body-altering hazards. The level itself appears as a massive golden warehouse, long, labyrinth-like hallways, storage areas, offices, and empty rooms, connected by pipes running along the walls that are warm to the touch. Windows are common but placed in strange locations, corners, ceilings, even floors, and whited out by an extremely bright light. Like level 0, the layout is non-linear, so walking in a straight line and back does not lead to the same place twice, which makes standard navigation effectively useless. The real danger is a slow physical transformation. Within the first stage, gold flakes and rings begin forming on a wanderer's skin. By the third day, those flakes grow larger, and a sense of heaviness spreads through the limbs as the body's insides are believed to begin converting to gold. After roughly 5 days total, the transformation reaches the fiend, which fully turn to gold. And this point marks a wanderer's final realistic chance to escape. Past it, no method of reversal or survival has ever been documented. Level 463, the Concrete Wastes. Level 463 is an arid outdoor level, made entirely of sun-bleached, cracked concrete instead of natural terrain, with light gravity roughly 40% of Earth's, comparable to Mars. There's no daylight cycle and no weather besides wind. Its radiation is severe enough that entities from other levels have been seen fleeing its entrances. Exposure causes a condition called concrete rot, and almond water, normally effective against most backroom hazards, has no effect on it. Concrete rot is progressive and, past a certain point, irreversible. Leaving the level once symptoms start won't stop it. After about a week of exposure, the transformation becomes permanent, ending in what's known as Entity 463-A, coarse green and yellow skin, rows of eyes, a spade-toothed mouth, and extra asymmetrical limbs on a twisted, slug-like body. The cause of the radiation is unknown, though scattered wooden ruins suggest people once lived here. Level 511, Epidemic Epicentre. Level 511 takes the form of an effectively infinite hospital. Endless hallways, rooms, and staircases that don't follow any conventional or consistent layout. Most of the rooms reflect modern architecture and medical technology from no more than about 5 years old, but the design details differ constantly from area to area. Different color palettes, different building materials, different hallway widths and heights, sometimes changing mid-corridor with no clear transition. Most of the level's space is made up of long hallways that can stretch for meters without a single doorway or intersection, furnished with little more than stretchers and medical chairs. Because these hallways vastly outnumber the actual rooms, most wanderers who end up on level 511 spend the majority of their time in them rather than in any kind of enclosed space. What actually makes this level dangerous isn't the maze-like structure on its own. It's an ongoing infection that spreads through the hospital at roughly the same rate the hospital itself expands. In effect, the level and the outbreak are growing together. That means the longer someone searches for an exit, the more of the spreading infection they're being exposed to, with no way to outpace either the maze or the sickness by moving faster. Level 986, Belphegor's Nightmare. Level 986 was first documented by MEG researcher Ray McAllister in the early 2020s. On the surface, it presents as a foggy, dreamlike forest, with mountains visible in the distance that can never actually be reached. The level itself is officially logged with an unusually positive survival rating. The entry literally reads, "Heaven, perfect, safe, it's a dream come true." Because for the first several hours, it genuinely is calm and comforting to most wanderers. The only entity on the level is known as Sloth, a mountain-sized entity shaped like a stuffed sloth doll, visible from anywhere on the level, usually asleep in the distance. For much of the visit, Sloth simply sleeps, sometimes for 12 hours or more at a stretch, and its appearance is generally described as comforting rather than threatening. The danger begins once Sloth wakes up, which tends to happen roughly 3 hours after the wanderer enters. From that point, it manipulates time and the environment in 3 escalating stages. In the first stage, everything slows to about half speed, and wanderers report growing paranoia and a sense that something is wrong. In the second stage, movement becomes difficult. The ground behaves like wet clay. The level starts to visually glitch, and wanderers report coughing, headaches, nausea, and exhaustion. By the third stage, movement stops almost entirely. Heart rate drops to a fatally low level. Visibility collapses to just a few feet due to thickening fog. And the entire level, including Sloth itself, is revealed to be made of clay, with the sky shifting to a sickly red. Separately, the fog blanketing the level is its own hazard. It has effects similar to carbon monoxide poisoning: exhaustion, coughing, nausea, and difficulty breathing. And prolonged exposure of roughly 8 to 12 hours can be fatal on its own, independent of anything Sloth does. That's 6 of the most dangerous documented levels in the Backrooms: a radioactive carnivorous lake, an accelerating field of bones, a golden warehouse that slowly turns you into treasure, a radioactive wasteland that even other entities won't go near, an infinite hospital racing its own outbreak, and a forest that lies to you before it kills you. Subscribe for more Backrooms level breakdowns.